Court will come to order. Good morning. It is Monday, January the 10th, 2022. Kerr County Commissioners Court is now in session. If you would, please stand for the prayer and the pledge. If you give it back to Commissioner Gibson.
Bow heads and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, this meeting, this government that takes work and consideration to exercise judgment and protest. We thank you for the hill country, this beautiful area that we live in, that we can keep it and protect it with portions of what we truly enjoy. We ask these and many other blessings in His name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. We'll remind everyone to turn your phones off or to vibrate so they don't disturb the meeting. And with that, then we will go to the input portion of the program. We seem to have several people lined up to talk to us at input. So, and remember, input is where you have 3 minutes, identify yourself, where you live, 3 minutes on something that's not on the agenda. So, Rich Faces.
Hi, I'm Rich Paces from Centerpoint. And look, I recently came across order number 3888. One more 8 to that. 38888. This deals with the ARPA funds. And as I read the court order that was unanimously approved in this Commissioner's Court, and then I see that, Judge Kelly, you have signed off on the Department of Treasury's terms and conditions for the award of these funds. So that means that we've accepted full compliance with all federal statutes, regulations, and executive orders. That's the one that really bothers me. So I'm just going to ask you 3 questions. What have you done? What has the county done? What has the Commissioner's Court done to identify all the areas in which we may not be in compliance? What are the consequences of non-compliance? And lastly, what have you done to protect the people of Kerr County from any non-compliance? Those are my simple questions. Thank you.
Bethany Puccio.
My name is Bethany Puccio. I live right in the city of Kerrville. I wanted to, this is about the ARPA funds, and I wasn't able to attend last meeting due to the holidays, but the meeting before that, we had this room and the room upstairs filled, and the meeting before that, we had maybe 50 people here, and unanimously the people are saying, we don't want these funds. And we don't want the strings attached. We don't want the executive orders. We don't want to be bought by the federal government. Thank you very much. We'd like the federal government to stay out of Kerr County and their money. And I want to thank Harley Ballou. Thank you for representing us so well at that meeting and being the voice for the people and bringing that forward. And unfortunately, nobody else wanted to support you in supporting us, really, because this is what the people want. We want the money sent back. And so I'm just disappointed. This isn't over. We're not dropping this. We don't want this money. We want it sent back. That contract, I'd like to know, by the time it all goes south, none of you will probably be in office, but we're going to get stuck with it. And that's not okay, and it needs to be fixed. And to me, I don't know if we can get out of that contract by sending the money back, but I would like that to be looked into, and we would like the money to be sent back.
Thank you. Carrie Hall.
Good morning, Terry Hall on Independence Lane in Ingram, and we do represent a group of people, We the People, Liberty in Action, and you took action to put any expenditure of the ARPA funds to a vote of the Commissioners Court right before Thanksgiving. But that's not what the citizens asked you to do. You want clarity on the strings attached through various court challenges and such. But we already know from you signing off on accepting those funds, the order that Mr. Paces has already brought up and that I know you're all aware of, makes us obligated to all those executive orders that the administration has already signed and any future ones that he will sign between now and 2024 when the funds must be expended. But here's how the citizens interpret your actions. It's, we know better than you. Sit down, be quiet, let us make the decision for you. But in Kerr County, that's not how we want this to work. We want government of the people, by the people, and for the people. You have informed voters. You have the blessing of more informed voters here in Kerr County. People who care, people who are engaged, people who investigate and research for themselves. They know enough about these funds to know that this is not good for our county, it's not good for our community. Another thing is that we want you to remember that we hired you at the ballot box to do a job, and ultimately the taxpayers are the ones who sign your paychecks. So who's really in charge? It should be us. Our U.S. Constitution and Texas Constitution is about self-governance. And you're the stewards of that, there's no question. But we want you to be stewards and not our masters. We're not so naive to think that this move isn't just a strategy, perhaps to put it off until there's votes to spend the money. If we're found not to be in compliance, perhaps after you've moved on, not even in office anymore, who's going to have to pick up the pieces for that? It's the taxpayers. We're always the ones left to clean up the mess. This administration is clearly, now I'm talking about the Biden administration, we've never seen this in our lifetimes, I don't think. They're not just disagreeing with us on how to spend money or if we tax or if we issue debt or something like that. These people are hell-bent on destroying this country. Yes. And if you look at just some of the executive orders this man has already signed, he signed almost 100 on the first day in office. We're still wading through this. And the impact that that's going to have on all of us as citizens. Not just to mention the mandates on the health mandates, he's mandated gun control. Mm-hmm. And this is a 2A county. I mean, this is a 2A state. This is unbelievable. The land grabs. You all already did the 30 by 30 resolution to protect us from that executive order. How about the Green New Deal initiatives? Mandatory emissions reduction, making it easier for incarcerated people to vote. Increasing the minimum wage, reversing all the Trump-era work requirements for welfare recipients, and more. That's just what he's already done. We don't want that here in Kerr County, and we're asking to send those monies back.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Alicia Bell?
Quite sure what I'm going to say. Alicia Bell, Precinct 2. This is more than just ARPA funds. This is enslaving the people. Mm-hmm. This is about there is no virus. This is about injecting people with something that can kill them. Are you ready to stand before God and say, yes, that is something that you should be doing? You need to be sending this money back. There is no virus. If the germ theory was true, there would be nobody allowed to discover it. Have you ever had pets? All the germs that you've been exposed to your whole life? Why are you still here? And you're going to allow people to be enslaved and forcibly injected? Is that where you want to stand before God? Thank you.
Is there anyone else here for the input portion of the meeting? Okay.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I filled something out up front. I thought that Ms. Gaudier got it.
Is it on the agenda? I'm sorry.
Huh?
Is it on the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
I don't believe so.
I believe his name,
It's already been talked about.
the first.
Oh, I see it. It's on,
If
it's
I
on
may?
this list. We didn't
Yes,
have
correct.
You got, yes.
John Sheffield.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen of the court, Your Honor, thank you for your time. My name is John Sheffield. I own the Old Ingham Grocery in Ingham, Texas. I live in Centerpoint off Birdie Creek. I'm here today to speak about what has been spoken about, and I want to thank Mr. Paces because at our meeting on Saturday, that's when he heard about this. Order number 38888, item 1.6, agreement with the U.S. Department of Treasury regarding ARPA. Came to be heard this the 23rd day of August 2021 with a motion made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Harris. The court unanimously approved by a vote of 5-0-0 that Kerr County enter into an agreement with the U.S. Department of Treasury to comply with ARPA award terms and conditions and authorize the county judge to sign same. Gentlemen, why I'm here is to ask that we bring this back on the agenda, and I ask that we rescind this order, or at least have it up for discussion once again. And I certainly thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sheffield. Anyone else for the public input portion of the meeting? Very well, then we'll move on to commissioners' comments. Precinct 1.
Well, I sure thought it was gonna rain, but it didn't quite get there. But it's nice to be a little moisture over
Precinct 2.
Another very good stock show. The number is about a little over 1.1 million was raised on the sale to help a lot of kids either move on to college or move on to future projects. So anyway, anyway, that's all I have.
Yeah, and I'll just continue with that. Our community supports our youth, and you spending time out there, you see kids that spend a lot of time learning responsibilities and stuff, and they were rewarded in the sale, and that's heartwarming. On another note, it's dry out there, guys. Precinct 4's under burn ban, and we were blessed with a lot of rains earlier, and now that we got dry fuel on the ground, so please be cautious. That's it.
And the only thing I would add is that the stock show was a great event. It truly was. And it was a lot of us together without masks. And what the Peterson's telling us now is we're expecting this Omicron thing to spike within the next week or two. So whether you believe in it or not, I'm just asking everybody, take care of yourself, take care of your family, be careful. So with that, let's move on to the consideration agenda. 1.1, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the 198 asset forfeiture budget. Steve Harper.
I'm here, Judge, for any questions y'all might have with regard to that issue.
Any questions?
Normally, this was something that we held in the small little committee thing that's set for that, but we felt like with not taking up y'all's time and just putting this on a regular agenda would just be much more easier and less obtrusive with regards to filing notices and stuff like that. So
Go ahead.
The question is there a provision to go to all the
Yes.
commissioner courts?
yeah, it's
Okay.
like paragraph 1 is what we normally did, and paragraph 2 was the other way.
Okay. Normally, just for a little information, there's a committee of which I'm on it, the sheriff's on it, and I believe it's judge from Bandera County on the committee to approve these funds. It was set up a number of years ago. Anyway, and I guess the other option is to bring it to each of the counties. So I'll make a motion that we approve the budget for the asset forfeiture account as submitted.
Got a motion and a second to approve the 198 asset forfeiture budget. Any discussion?
Is this pretty well in line with what it's been in the years past?
My sense is that in the years past, the budget was just basically the amount that was in the account divvied up. And what I just did is I just looked at it and said, well, we're not even spending close to that. And so I just knocked it down to what I thought was a more realistic approach of what we would spend it on.
Makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this is money that isn't spent out of our general
Right.
fund.
Yes,
Or
sir.
general fund for the counties that, in the 198.
Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0.
Thank y'all. Thanks for all y'all do.
Item 1.2. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to accept the annual racial profiling report from the 216th District Attorney's Office. Ms. Flores here?
Do you want me to check the hall?
Blair, can.
No, sir. Come back to it.
We'll come back to it. Let's go ahead and move on to item 1.3. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize the Animal Service Director to reduce the annual registration fee to $1 during the annual rabies vaccination clinics being held February 5 through February 19. And also to advertise by placing a sign on the courthouse grounds, and the current fees are $5 neuter spade and $10 for non-neuter spade. Megan Gibbons.
Good morning. This is something I've been coming here yearly to request, and basically we're looking this year for the annual rabies drive to lower the annual registration fee to $1, just like in years past, for a 2-week period of February 5th through February 19th of 2022. We're lowering it to $1 from $5 if they're neuter or spayed, or $10 for non-neuter spayed. Basically, that's an incentive for people to get their pets registered. This is also a good opportunity for people to get their unvaccinated animals vaccinated through the vet clinics. So what people will do is call their local vet clinic, set up an appointment, and they'll get it at a discounted rate for that 2-week period. And then also, we advertise for this with a sign that we've historically put on the corner out here, the courthouse lawn.
Okay, I move for approval.
Second.
And a motion and a second to approve the authorization for the Animal Service Director to reduce the annual registration fee to $1 during the annual rabies vaccination clinic, February 5 through 19. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0.
Judge, I think we could probably handle 1.2. I mean, what was sent was they're exempt from filing the report.
I just asked the DA for that office if she wanted me to ask y'all to accept it if you already had it. And she said yes, that no one would be here today from her office.
Okay. So we'll go back to 1.2. You gonna make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the report, which basically just states that they're exempt from filing this because they, their exemption. That's my motion.
We got a motion and a second.
It says we're supposed to be accepting a report.
Right,
That's what the item says.
yeah, we're accepting the report that says that they're exempt from filing the report.
That's government for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
They don't make stops. They don't make traffic stops.
They don't make traffic stops, and that's what it says.
Yeah.
Motion. Second.
Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.4, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a resolution recognizing January 23 through 29 as School Choice Week in Kerr County. I think we all got the notice of this, asking us to put it on the agenda, and I talked to Jody, and she said Mr. Harris had already done it. We're both,
So anyway,
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution for school.
and I'll
choice.
second it.
Any discussion?
Well, I think we're all in favor of school choice, especially here in Kerr County. So,
Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.5, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the contract with Hill Country Cares and allow me to sign this one. This is just a routine renewal of contract we do every year.
I'm going to approve.
Second.
And a motion and a second to approve renewing contract with Hill Country Cares. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.6, consider, discuss, take appropriate action to surplus items for the IT department. Michelle.
Yes, we have a list of items that the IT department is asked to be surplused.
I move we approve the list, which is made up primarily of computer and computer parts.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve surplusing the items for the IT department. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. You bet. We're at that curious spot that we're actually ahead of our agenda, so I'm going to skip down to 1.8. We'll come back to 1.7 in just a minute. Consider, discuss, take appropriate action to consider COVID and sick leave policy. Ms. Doss.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. We were just bringing this to the court because of the spike, and to encourage people that are symptomatic to stay home without using their own sick leave. I know that the FFCRA, the Families First Coronavirus Act, in 2020 granted 80 hours, and the county matched that, which we transferred into 21. I'm just asking for the court to consider additional time for 2022.
I guess I'm more of the opinion that, to me, we need to move on. And that if you're sick, you should stay home, regardless of what you're sick of.
We got so many things that are so similar, and I don't know, some of y'all know, don't know, but I tested positive second time right after Christmas, and I wouldn't even have known I had it if I had tested. We were having cedar fever, we're having this cold and flu season, everything else, and the symptoms were all the same. And, you know, it was a big inconvenience more than anything. So we do have to move on at some point. The numbers that are important are hospitalizations and deaths. Those are important numbers.
Okay,
But getting a cold is not.
Okay, I've just heard buzz about it. I told people that I would bring it to the court for your consideration, so.
I mean, so I guess the answer is there's no additional sick time for COVID. Is this if you're sick, you stay home and you use your current sick or PTO.
Right.
And this doesn't take action, does it? I mean.
No, if y'all don't grant it, then nothing needs to
And
be
it
done.
technically didn't expire, that last policy expired at the end of our last budget.
12/31, correct.
So that code should just be taken off of out of our payroll system.
We'll do that, so people are just instructed to use their sick time if they have any remaining balance, and then moving forward, PTO. All right, thank you.
We got time for 1.9, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action. Clarify the rate of pay for Jill Shackelford for consulting services for the aggregate production operations. This came to light at our last meeting before the end of the year. The contract that we signed with Jill actually says $275 an hour. And our order says $275, not to exceed $275. And so for the November, she charged us the $275, just like our order says, but I need to bring it to you as to what do we need to do with regard to this contract that we have with her. Because it does say $275 an hour. I was surprised to see that, but it does.
Where are we at with it?
Oh, it's doing great.
Yeah. So,
I mean, she's really providing very valuable service, but we meet probably once every 2 months, 2 or 3 months.
so it's a retainer. Is that the way it's working? It's a retainer?
Well, we paid her initially to help us
She
set
gets
it
paid
up.
when she shows up.
We paid her to set it up. And then with the expectation that she would help us keep it going. We're to be an ongoing consultation position.
She comes in as a facilitator then.
Yes, and she arranges for programs. We had somebody from TxDOT last time that was telling us what to do about everything that affects the aggregate productions. And it's been very good. You know, we've got the operators, we've got the citizens, and we've got the business people there. We have a lot of ex officio people that come, representatives from Representative Murr's office and Senator Buckingham show up. So we've had really good participation. It's been very worthwhile. This is not anything that we want to abandon. The question is, what are we going to do about compensating her to facilitate this?
Well, if there,
I'm sure
this is going to be,
I'm sure $250
$250?
instead of $275.
Okay.
Unless I'm misreading it.
No, I misspoke.
I just want to make sure.
My question in this is, what are the benefits of this being an ongoing, open-ended session, or sessions, seminars, whatever we want to call it, as opposed to kind of bow on it at some point and saying, we've got it figured out.
Bingo, that's what I'm wondering. Is there light at the end of the tunnel or what?
Well, the light at the end of the tunnel, I think, is the ongoing relationships that we're creating. That's the light at the end of the tunnel, as I see it. What she's done is she has been instrumental in preparing the program for these first few meetings, which has been very beneficial. And we paid her to do that. The lump sum amount that we put in the order, which I guess was $250. I've got the number. But the issue is, the contract says per hour. And I told her that we could pay that without me bringing it back to court and us discussing what we're willing to pay or what we want to do.
Well, she's brought everybody to the table, and made progress there. But do we need her to hold everybody's hands from here on? I mean,
I think that just as what happened with Kerrville Pets Alive, citizen group got together, they took it from there. I think that might be a good idea for this as well, because it affects certain people. They've learned something. She's been a great facilitator in that conversation. At some point, instead of this being never ending, I think we need to have that, put together a group like that and say they take it from here. Now, when that happens, I don't know.
How many, I agree with what both of y'all said, and I think that's what she said originally when she came and presented to us, that she was not here forever, she was here for a period of time. So we need a couple more meetings, or
can she help facilitate a group understanding what they're doing, how to go forward? That's how she's most used to us, I think. That she would help a group establish 5 or 6 people or whatever, and then they have a board, and then they meet with the aggregate producers, and she bows out and she gets her check, and if we ever need her, we call her back. We have a good relationship with her, and she's been helpful, so.
I agree with you.
I don't think anybody disagrees with what we're saying here.
No.
The issue is that if she's going to continue to work with us from today forward, we need to have a clear understanding of what we're willing to compensate her or not.
Right.
I don't want her to operate under the misconception that we're going to pay $250 an hour, because we're not. I didn't anticipate that we would.
I'm not opposed to that if we can, get it capped off. A couple more meetings, that costs us $500, you get a committee, citizens committee, move on.
She lives outside Buda, so we get the travel time to Buda and back, plus the time here with us. We usually take she gets there early and sets up, you get somebody to provide a little snack or a meal for people. And it's probably, I'm guessing we'll be looking at a minimum of 3, maybe 4 hours for each meeting, so that would be $1,000.
Okay, another $1,000.
Okay.
So then you have a citizens group that understands how to achieve their goals. They know what their goals are, and how to facilitate that, how to get it done. And we've got a whole other group of Kerr County citizens that have a special need, special problem, that have learned how to address it. And then everybody else in the county isn't footing the bill infinitum.
Okay.
I would recommend that you or somebody visit with her and say, rather than hourly, do a per meeting amount, and say we're looking at, to me, $500 a meeting, something like that, and with the idea that we want it turned over and maybe 3 more meetings or something along that line.
Well, then why don't I suggest that I visit with her?
Okay.
Because I sit on that council with her, that advisory council. And see how many more meetings she thinks that we need her guidance. I mean, she's still available to us, we can call her on the telephone. But in terms of her coming down here for the meetings and everything, we'll visit with her and report back to you.
Okay.
So with that, the next item on the agenda, we'll go back to item 1.7, which is a presentation regarding chronic wasting disease. Ms. McBride.
Good morning. My name is Michelle McBride. I'm residing in Precinct 4 at the moment. I just wanted to come and visit with y'all about chronic wasting disease. I had submitted a fact sheet I believe that y'all had all received. And as the private consulting service that I have, I've found that landowners are getting more and more concerned about the chronic wasting disease. and where the responsibility lies. And I'm trying to address this before it becomes a big problem for the county and for the city. I don't know how the county offices work, and I think to implement plans of making a productive and positive solutions, I have to understand what would work best for y'all. So I'm hoping that we can open channels of communication to be able to eliminate more confusion about chronic wasting disease. I know that most recently, there's information out there that now we have COVID in wildlife, which I don't see how that can be. But I also don't have factual information to prove it one way or another. I think we've gotten so mixed up with opinions and facts that it's created so much confusion. So coming to you, I'm just trying to create awareness of the problems that I foresee. I understand there are positive cases in Kerr County, but they are not documented cases. So that's just basically hearsay. But I think that we're eventually moving to that point. Do you have any questions for me?
I'll have a general comment, because I've talked to you at length.
Yes, sir.
And know quite about chronic wasting disease. But it's really just nothing that we as a commissioners court have any, other than making public aware that it exists, any part of it. It's a disease that white-tailed deer have, and some other exotics, some 3 or 4 types of exotics, not most exotics so far. And it's fatal to the deer that get it eventually, but it takes a long time for them to develop the symptoms usually. But there's really nothing that we can do other than what you've done today, and kind of let the public be aware that this is a problem. There's a lot of Parks and Wildlife is kind of the lead agency on monitoring it. They take deer samples across the county on almost a daily basis, and they send a couple of glands you can send off and get them tested at A&M, or I think it's the only lab in Texas right now. And so far, they haven't found any confirmed cases that have gone through that testing program. But I think you're all right that it's likely that it will, or at some point possibly get into the county. It is in Kimball County. It is in Medina County.
Yes, sir. Uvalde County.
So, other counties around.
Yeah, another concern is that it's, possibly a zoonotic disease, and I don't think we're addressing that issue at all.
I didn't hear what you said.
Possibly a zoonotic disease, meaning it can be transferred from animals to humans by consumption.
Fortunately, the U.S. Congress did do something right, and they did, I think, $80 million, I believe, they allocated to trying to learn more about the disease and find it. Texas has much less of a problem than a lot of other states. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Colorado have a far greater problem than we do. So certainly is in Texas as well. So hopefully they'll find a reason. There have been recent reports, I presume they're accurate, that Iowa or Illinois, one of the days, where they are found in whitetail, or actually found COVID in whitetail deer.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
They found COVID in whitetail deer. Which is an odd thing, and I'm not even sure why they even tested deer with that, but that's another whole topic. But anyway, I think that public awareness is really good. I know Parks and Wildlife, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't understand statistics, but they have statistically the samples they're getting across the state seem to show that it's certainly not prevalent, if it even exists in the wild population right now. Even though there are a few isolated areas there, it has been found around some facilities. But,
well, I know the first case was found in free-ranging deer in Texas. So.
Well, they have it in mule deer and elk free-ranging.
Yes.
And to my knowledge, the white-tailed deer that have been found to have it have been near breeding facilities or at breeding facilities.
I believe the one in Valverde County was not. near a breeding facility.
Yeah,
free range
correct,
chickens.
that one's an unknown, it's a puzzle.
Which it could have been a false positive
Right,
too.
right.
There's so many factors that have to be considered. But I think that the information being provided is not accurate because it's not being fact checked. And that's concerning, and which I've been trying to do, but every time you go down a bunny trail, you end up in a briar patch, and then that cave you went in on's collapsed. So I think that's where a lot of leads are taking a lot of people, and it's creating a lot of confusion.
So I think what you did today is the way to get it out in public awareness, and that's something good.
Okay, I just wanted to have your support with that.
Right.
Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is 1.10. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to review the liaison responsibilities and determine liaison appointments for 2022. Rather than doing anything unilaterally, I reached out to all of you to see is there anything you wanted to change about your liaison appointments. 2 of you have gotten back with me and told me that they want to keep what they're doing. So, but I wanted to bring this so that we could talk about it as a group, because open meetings don't let us do that.
Well, my view on this is, and when 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we decided to split up some of them where there was 2 commissioners on as liaison, go to 1 to where we could talk to one other person rather than just the person that was on that same team or what have you. Looking around, I think it has, but looking at the makeup here and how there's going to be some new faces down the road, I think we may go back to 2 on some of them. A couple of people have said they're not going to be seeking second term, and just for example, I know there's a couple items that Harley has that I wouldn't mind sharing with him to be up to snuff when Harley's gone, and probably some others with mine or what have you. We know there'll be a new spot there coming up, and then 2 years down the road, a couple of these. I might want to go back to being on the facility, the ag barn out there with Jonathan, where we're not caught flat-footed when somebody leaves. Does that make sense?
Good thing.
Well, I would encourage y'all to, this is a tricky thing to do because open meetings only allows us to talk to one other person about a topic. And so, if you'll notice, I reached out to each one of y'all individually and did not talk to anybody else's. If y'all would talk among yourself to the extent that you can in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, if there's things you want to adjust, we'll adjust it. I just do it out there because it's time for the appointments, and
it needs to be considered.
I thought it ought to be discussed.
My response was I really didn't want to shift because I'm just very getting familiar with the one I started on. But other than that, I've got no problem. I understand the duplication, certainly do.
Well,
and particularly Harley's in my position on that, probably needs some.
And we don't know who's going to be sitting there, and different ones bring different skill sets that would be appropriate for some of these liaisons.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I like kind of the setup we have this year, but I think next year when there will be at least one new commissioner, probably just one. Maybe we'll see how it goes. You have a phone, don't you? Oh, you don't have a phone? We'll have one new commissioner. That it would be good because I'm not going to run for re-election, so I'm here for 3 more years, and I have probably more than anybody else right now on the court, and I need to, and some of those are really important, and there needs to be somebody that really wants to be engaged and spend a lot of time, because some of the, some of those positions are as needed, and some are almost every other day. Or
the 2 that you have that I think are the most important that we need we need the continuity with. It'd be animal services, because that's going to be part of our bond issue, and that does require almost daily, certainly weekly input. And the other one is HR.
Yeah.
Personnel.
And those 2, and I'd like to keep both of those this next year. But I think after that, either we bring in another person, or we can bring another person in now, and with the idea that my 2 years or so, I'd like to be off of both of those, because it really, you get thrown in the briar patch when you, and along with the HR is also the insurance pool
That's pretty
coordinator.
complicated.
Yeah.
It's
You get insurance, you get insurance pool coordinator, which means that you get every thing related to insurance comes to you, and some of it only goes to you, so you have to really look through it and see what it is, and see who else was copied. I sent the sheriff a whole bunch last night.
That's not.
Well, just so that the public's aware of what we're dealing with, this is a list of the liaison appointments that we have. Takes up the whole page, double space. And we try to spread those duties out among the 5 of us. And in 3 years, there's only going to be 2 of us sitting here. So I'm trying to get us prepared for when that happens.
And that's just an example to the public of what I'm talking about with the insurance pool coordinator. You know, it has to go to a person. It can't go to everybody. And it's not there's any action. It's just that there's one I was talking about with the sheriff, a lawsuit. You know, we get a lot of lawsuits filed against the county, mostly in the jail or in the sheriff's department anyway. That's just the nature of that business. You know, there's no reason for action, but I get him. He didn't get copied of it, so I need to make sure he's aware of what attorney's been assigned to a lawsuit, because it will impact his office. So that's the type of thing that this is a matter of getting the email and forwarding it to the department that it needs to go to. And usually I get like that type of thing. The county attorney's usually either gets it originally or she wasn't on for some reason. I'll forward it to her.
Okay, then next item on the agenda is item 1.11. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on the county revision of plat and right-of-way policy. Mr. Blue.
Okay, we had recently Mr. Crabb in here, and he had an issue with his right-of-way because we require people to replat when property changes hands. So as part of that.
That's not accurate.
What?
They require a replat when they divide their property.
When they divide their property.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's property changing hands.
No.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not selling the property doesn't trigger the replat. It's the dividing the property.
Dividing the property. So subdivided property. And so what I'm seeing here, and I talked to our attorney Chuck Kimbrough about this, and the idea that, and I talked to the county surveyor, the idea that emerged from the 2 conversations between the 3 of us, is that we might have a more efficient way to do this, and that would be to exempt the properties that were established with the road easement prior to 2007 when we have a subdivision rule change. So that I think it's more efficient. We don't have people coming back to the court all the time to ask for variance. I talked also to Charlie, so that was 3 conversations about how to do this. I just think that there's got to be a more efficient way to do this. There are people, I talked to somebody recently who wants to do a family partition with exactly 10 acres. That would change things for them. It's going to stress some people. It doesn't mean we wouldn't look at variances in the future. You're always going to have to. But if we could at least eliminate this one, it was the opinion of Mr. Kimbrough that easements are just as good as the right-of-ways and would save us a lot of time and trouble. All we have to do is put a sentence or a paragraph in our subdivision rules that say that these properties that exist with an easement right now, if they're replatted, they don't lose a portion of that property and put them in a bind. So I just think that it's a more efficient way to do it if we can do that. That we have efficiency, we have consistency. Over time, now it's not a lot, but over time, when the county takes property away from somebody, you lose revenue on that. That's part of it. You have more responsibility for it, so that's part of it. I don't think that's a good idea. And we're kind of micromanaging if everybody that has one of these has to go back to the court. I'd rather see them do their thing, be grandfathered in. Everybody that subdivided and did development after 2007 understands what the rules are. Some of these other people are finding out the hard way, like the gentleman came in here the other day.
Right.
And I just feel like that we want to be as streamlined and efficient, unless there's any genuine compelling interest for the county And I don't see any, especially in that particular case. In that case, it was a private road, privately maintained. It was public road, privately maintained. Neither the taxpayer nor the county gained a thing from the county getting a right of way there, because there was an easement that already exists. So it seems to me the more reasonable course, and the less burden on the taxpayer, the less that it has the appearance of a taking of some sort. I asked all these different questions of our attorney, and he felt like that the easement, and I agree, the easement is the best way to go, because it's already there. And we have access to everything we need via an easement. If we need to change the road, we need to come into their property a little bit. We already have the easement, that already covers it. So taking away that frontage from somebody that has to do a replat, I don't think it's best practices. I don't think it's efficient, and it certainly is not the best thing for the taxpayer, the property owner. In the long run, I don't think it's the best thing for the county either. So I wanted to ask if everybody would consider that we put just a sentence or a paragraph into the subdivision rules that will exempt these properties prior to 2007 from having to go through this and give up a right.
Post 2007, what you're talking about.
Post 2007, everybody already is subject to those rules.
Well,
Yeah, you're talking about post, yeah, that they're grandfathered in with an easement.
But let me kind of set the stage so the public knows what we're talking about. We're in the process of working on revisions to our subdivision rules as we speak. We hope to have that finalized sometime in this first quarter. I want to get it done before budget. But that's something that's already started. What we're talking about here is when you have to go in and replat, and it's the replat that we're talking about. It triggers it. Requires a dedication instead of a right-of-way. The Kerr County policy has been not to accept an easement for those roads, but for them to be dedicated to the county. And that's a policy long before me, long before most of us on this court. You're the only one who can remember when that happened.
It actually was in the rules in '84.
Really?
Wow.
Well,
Well, so we found out in the process.
In the process, yeah.
and I couldn't agree more with Commissioner Ballou. We don't want to micromanage, and we don't want to have to deal with these on a case-by-case basis. But we do have a variance case on the agenda today. And when we come to a variance, we do have to deal with them case by case. I'd rather see our subdivision rules be enforced more objectively. And what I mean by that is just like balls, call them balls and strikes. Black and white stripes, you call it a ball, you call it a strike, you apply it the same way every time, you know what the strike zone is. That's the way I would like to see the rules, subdivision rules apply. We've got some wrinkles here of what happened, and part of the problem, and I know we've got a couple of people here that do want to address the court on this, but part of the problem is that some of these subdivisions predate 2007.
Right.
And may even predate 1984.
A lot of it.
And so that didn't solve the problem for those people that are living in the subdivision that was platted that long ago. And some of these subdivisions are older. You would think that with the subdivision rules having changed in 2007,
Your time's up.
And it was on silent. 911.
If these folks ever start getting to do that to us. Might be an improvement, actually.
I know we've got a couple of people here that want to address the court with this.
Let me make a comment on this, and I agree with what both of y'all said. But I think there's a big distinction that we need to make in the rules if it's a county maintained road or if it's a private road. And the reason is if it's a county maintained road, we need that right of way because we're responsible for maintaining it.
But if you have an easement, you're already.
Well, but if you get it, but most of our roads, or many of them, there isn't an easement. So we need to get some, most of our roads are prescriptive easements, which are just, you get the road only. You don't even, and you may get the shoulder, that's the better. So in those situations, we need to get additional property. Now, if it's a private road, that's the responsibility, that's part of the, the risk of people that buy on a private road. It's their responsibility, it's not the county's responsibility.
Well, so what would you suggest then as somebody that wants to do a family partition and has a piece of property that can be petitioned, but is on fronting a county road, and they have an easement already. They don't, and here's the thing, they don't gain anything when the replat happens. They don't gain any extra service from the county. None. The county doesn't give up anything by that happening. So why should that person then have to give up?
They don't. All they have to do is give us a deeded right of way. They need to give us the access.
It's not included in the plat.
But I'm talking about it on a, you talking
the
about
plat
someone.
says that it has to be separate from the right of way, which makes, which that person is given them property.
But you take any county road,
That's not the same as an easement though.
Prescriptive easement, you only get the road. Most of our county roads, all we actually control is the road surface. But people expect us, and we do handle, we mow along the side of it, we need to have the right to modify those roads. I don't want to own it, I just want a right of way to it. And we don't have that right now on a lot of these county roads.
Right now, the way it's being,
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to take, I don't want to say, they keep ownership of the 10 acres, but they're giving the county a right of way. I'm part of that 10 acres.
as long as it doesn't, there's no taking in it.
Right.
Because, I know there's a legal term for taking, but if you get something from me that I didn't want you to get, you took something.
Right.
It was already taken. The developer gave it before we put the plat, submitted to the county accepted it because of that.
Well, let me see here. Now, you're talking about the fee simple. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I'm talking about this, the easement, right-of-way easement. In this case, we had this last week.
It's on the agenda today.
Yeah. The developer in 1984, 1986, wherever it was, granted that easement to the county. So it's not that we're taking it. It was already.
Right. But that's an easement, that's not a right of way. That's not somebody replatting and having 20 feet.
It technically is a right of way. I don't want to debate these terms. Because
But when you look at the
term.
plat and somebody's taken 30 feet of front of your property, and it's not on your plat anymore.
The issue is the dedication.
Yes, exactly.
That's the issue.
And that's what Chuck said.
Our subdivision rules require developers, when they come to us at requesting plat approval, they have to dedicate those roads so that they're publicly owned and publicly maintained. That's what we require in the subdivision rules. And that's for the big developers.
Right.
Right.
And that's the requirement. And that was decided long before most of us were on this court. That's
All of us were on the court.
And according to Mr. Kimbrough, it's all in the wording of that dedication, which apparently they can be worded in different ways, which I was not aware of that part.
I'm sure with you, if we can get a policy that solves this,
Yes.
well, I'm for it.
Okay.
Rather than.
I think we're all in agreement here that we don't want to take anything away from the taxpayers. We don't want to damage anybody. But I think if we can figure out a way to just put kind of grandfathered in, taking into account what you're talking about, John, what Beck's talking about here, and doing the best possible thing for the property owner.
Bingo.
We need to do that.
I think, and we need to really lean on Chuck to get some advice here. I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel here, because other counties have been through the same thing. There's language out there that other counties have that we can adopt or tweak and insert, I would think. And he should be aware of it.
He said most of everybody's with easements. TxDOT is the one that does the right of ways.
Right.
Most counties don't, and
Right.
an easement should provide what we need. If we need to expand the road or fix a line curve or whatever.
Make it the
And-
least
and
that,
If Charlie, if you want to say anything about it, you and I discussed this at length, if you want to add anything, please do.
I think what we need is the policy in our regulations clear. If there's an exemption, what is that exemption, so that we're not wasting time trying to get variances for things that are unnecessary. It's unfortunate. Our rules have been this way since 1984, exactly this. Don't ask me why in 1986 they did it as a road easement. I don't know, maybe they had a separate discussion and decided it was okay. Maybe nobody was looking, but
That's a lot of it.
yeah, it probably was. And you also got to remember, although we had subdivision regulations in 1984, we didn't have a county engineer in 84. I think the first one was 87. And so it's just one of those things. But clarification is what the public's looking for and what I'm looking for to help the public so that we can not waste a bunch of
Well, I
time.
just want clarification. I want to make sure that people have the right to their property.
Yeah.
And ultimately, while in a small measure, that property brings in revenue to the county. It may be a small little strip of frontage, but
Well,
it brings in revenue to the county.
least intrusive for the property
Least
owner.
intrusive thing. So, I don't know that we
Before-
need to take action on it, but.
Well, but before we take our morning break, I do want to give the homeowners and people that are here that wanted to address the court. I know that Joe's here and Jean's here. If there's anything you'd like to address the court at this time, just, please approach the podium.
Well, thank you.
Identify yourself and where you live.
Yes, sir. I'm Gene Stout. I live at 430 Kerrville Country Drive. And you gentlemen have touched on everything that I've written here, so I don't even know if I should read it. Because you did an outstanding job, and Harley, you're in my precinct, and we haven't met, we have not talked, and everything you've said is exactly on board. So I'm gonna do this little, it took me a lot longer to write this than it was probably gonna say it. And you guys brought your bulletproof vest this morning, I seen that. I'm not gonna be that.
This is checkered.
Boy. But I do appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. I'm gonna just run down my list here. Good morning, Commissioners and Judge. My name is Gene Stout. I reside at 430 Kerrville Country Drive in Kerrville Country Estates. I'm on the board of the Kerrville Country Property Owners Association and chair of the Architect Committee. Thank you for hearing our concerns, and today there are 3 things that I'd like to discuss. Owner of 5 acres do not lose their property value. County won't incur unintended consequences, lawsuits, etc. We could go through a bunch. Request that the county table this decision on this issue until further research. Kerr County Estates, part of my job is that I approve the building sites and plans. Each new owner is to submit a house plan, a lot plan, a plot plan, the location of their building, the water well, and their sewer. And if they are going to subdivide it, they must have at least a minimum of 5 acres. That's in our rules and regs. I'm not really understanding why the county is making sure that the roads are wide enough. I hear your complaints or views. When a right-of-way is approved, a right-of-way is just that. It's access for the city, state, county, and the utility companies to be able to access that area. And yes, when the property owner was granted the easement, the initial plat decades ago, in our case, I believe it was 1972, John, so we were platted. And they had already dedicated the land to public use in the intent to claim the ownership. Our intent was to claim the ownership. You guys had the right of way, or the county had the right of way. Now, do we still claim that ownership if you do deed it? And if so, do we still pay taxes on it? I mean, this thing could go anywhere. If so, do we still claim ownership? Do we pay taxes on it? If not, do we get that portion deducted from the tax roll? Don't even want to go there. My understanding, and this is an example of where you were going, that a homeowner with 5.10 acres is allowed to drill a water well. And if they have less, they are not. That is a county, I have not done the research on that. I've been told that is a county rule. Great, I love it. That's one of the things that I check on when they bring the plans to me. The rule is imposed by the county. So the person that has 5.01 acres and the right-of-way is 0.02, I just threw numbers in there, you could pick any number you wanted, then his investment is now deemed unsuitable for a house or a building. He can't drill a water well. If he bought it for a reason to, or subdivided it, then they can't put that water well in. And that's where you were going, Harley, and I believe that you're right on it. The investor has now lost value in that. So if someone has bought that property thinking that they're going to put a house on it for a future, then you can't do that. Unintended consequences again, and there's so many areas to this. I've talked to some people and they said it's non-ending. Unintended consequences. I asked that the court that you table this until there's further research and post a public notice, if so, and review it with the county surveyor and the council. My understanding is in 2007, no properties had been planted to the center of the road. So maybe to exempt the right-of-way dedication for plats prior to 2007. I believe we never talked, so you got the same information that I got. Basically, grandfather them in from the requirement proposed in front of us today or whenever it was. My little note here, and I just did it for probably no good reason, but you're going to get to hear it anyway. Sometimes we make tough decisions and have to do the right thing. Please do not be blinded by the policies or look back on mistakes that we've made in the past, because we all make mistakes. The only people that don't make mistakes are those that don't do anything. And by golly, you guys have to do a lot, and I appreciate it. I hope you will take this under consideration and avoid any unintended consequences that the county and all the rest of us may have. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Gene, just to clarify, we're not attempting to do anything right now. This is the way it was. This is what we inherited. So when you ask us to table, we're not making a proposal yet.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is to figure out how to enforce our rules. That's what we're struggling to do. Because what we want is to have uniform enforcement that applies to everybody equal. That's what we want.
And I appreciate it. And that's exactly right. I just want the court to understand people that have 5 acres, and there's some here in this room that have 5.08 acres to be exact. This rule, if it was to get in effect, they can't build on it.
And to clarify, because we've got Tom Jones here, that's not the county rule. That is the headwater, groundwater conservation rule.
That's true. And it's a good rule. I mean, I don't.
Right.
And we like it.
Yeah, I like it, but my part of my job is to make sure that they have that. So if you take that portion away, then they lose that. They can't drill that one, and then that.
But that's a headwaters issue, not a county issue.
Okay.
Well, we don't want to harm any property owners.
Sure. And I appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Joe, would you like to address us?
Thank you, Judge. My name is Joe Taylor, and I read in the Sunday paper that there is a new subdivision that is trying to get approval from y'all out Interstate 10, 473, and the way it's platted is that the county owns the road, and the property owners own up to the road or to the edge of the road, and that's smart. I like that. I think that has got vision and foresight. The problem is that when you look backwards at the way it used to be done, where properties went to the center of the road, I bought 10 acres. I bought 10 acres knowing that I could sell 5 acres in our subdivision. And I've been paying taxes on those 10 acres, and when I bought the 10 acres, it was valued at 10 acres. And so if I sell it to my family, I think there's a family exemption. But if I sell it, if my daughter says, I'm going to teach school somewhere else, Dad, you're going to have to sell it, then that's my retirement. Having my daughter live next to me is my retirement. So if I have to sell it to a stranger, now I've subdivided 10 acres. And if you interpret that as creating a new subdivision, it gives the impression like this big ranch out here on Interstate 10 is making these new subdivisions. Well, then if you take the frontage where that road was, I have less than 10 acres. I'm no longer able to sell 5 acres. That's the unintended consequences. And then the county would own the portion that's right in front of mine, but until the guy across the street, Mr. Pike, sells his or subdivides his, you'll only own the left half and not the right half, depending on which direction you're traveling. So then everybody's coming up for a different variance and causing a whole lot of struggles for y'all, and there's a lot of tension and a lot of stress. And when I talked to Lee Vogel, he said, you know, if you just grandfathered everything before 2007, subdivisions, and don't call a division of 10 acres a new subdivision in an existing subdivision. That's where we get into trouble. So,
Joe, you and I talked this weekend. It's just to clarify, if you're talking about a family partition, like Commissioner Ballou talked about, those do not require plating.
but what if I sell it to a stranger?
That requires plating because you're dividing the property.
Right.
That's what triggers the application of these old subdivision rules that you're complaining about, is because it is being subdivided.
And so the interpretation is if it's an old established subdivision before 2007, then if a property owner divides a portion of it, if that's all grandfathered and not defined as a new subdivision, then everything's clear. No landowner feels like their property's being taken away from them. When I paid for it, I paid taxes on it, then I lose it, and it has all these unintended consequences, and everybody's upset. I just think that if the county agent and other people say, let's just grandfather those before the rule was made in 2007, and any new subdivision that is a newly developed subdivision, do the new rules. I think it's clear cut, it's simple, and that would be my recommendation.
Just a comment, and I'm getting into probably more detail than I should. We're in the weeds just a little bit. I agree with everything you're saying, though, and we don't want to, especially on a private road, there's no question that we don't want to.
It's not a private road, it's a county road.
County road. We don't want to reduce the amount of acreage you own.
Thank you.
Let me clarify.
But if you're in a subdivision, when you divide land by state law, you're a subdivider. We can't change state law.
But you can grandfather that towards the subdivisions that were created before 2007.
We can do what you're asking, I believe, on the ownership of the property.
Yeah, I think it's just real clear that way. Our church gave Nimitz Elementary School, KISD, an easement across our property on Ranchero Road in Valley View. We gave it to them for, I think it was $1. And they maintain it. They own the easement, they take care of it. But the land underneath belongs to us. And if, in fact, the administrator called Mr. Faust and he said, we'd like to buy that from y'all. Well, if he said, we're passed a rule that says that we're taking it. Well, I mean, I'm trying to be a nice preacher, but that would really anger me.
We're in agreement on what you want.
Okay.
You are a nice preacher. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to use the proper terminology because it's going to make it a whole lot easier. We're in the process of working on revising the subdivision rules. This is clearly on our radar screen. It's clearly going to be addressed. And there'll be public meetings for everybody to have input on what we do. Because that's what we
Thank you very much.
But what I was trying to clarify, when we're talking about Kerrville Country Estates, that is privately owned. The roads in that subdivision are privately owned.
They're not county roads?
They're county maintained.
Okay.
But you own the middle of the road on your side,
Right.
And your neighbor across the street owns the middle of the road.
Right.
But the county's got an easement so that is a public use.
Yes.
Private ownership, public use.
Okay.
Okay.
So if y'all own it, then you only own the left side.
If that were the case, if that's the way it unfolded, that's what it would be. But in the subdivisions we're talking about now that we're working on, the big ones out here, the hideout, the 10471, there we require that roadway, that right of way, which includes the roadway itself, the paved road, and the shoulders, that is dedicated to the county.
That's great.
And it was that way since 1984, but certainly since 2007. Those are the rules that we're working under right now. That's what's required, is that it be dedicated. Now, when we're talking about subdivision and partition, those are two very important concepts that you need to keep clearly in your mind because they're different. When you partition it, it's a family partition, is what we call it. And they're exempt from subdivision rules.
Some are subdivision rules.
So, yeah, subdivision. True.
Now, the one we had the other day, is an existing subdivision, so the rules, and I read them, are different from existing subdivisions.
That's right, and that's because in 1986, they went and formed that subdivision. And so now, and so if you divide your property with your family, you partition it with your family, this rule does not apply to you. But if you're going to divide it and sell it to someone other than your family, then the subdivision rules do apply. And that's subdividing versus partitioning. And I'm just trying to get the terminology
Right.
And we understand the result can be unintended consequences. Nobody really wants to take anything. But we do want to enforce the subdivision rules. We're trying to figure out how we can do that consistently with everybody else's interest.
And hopefully we're going to draw a conclusion within the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. And if my daughter decides not to purchase it or receive it, and I have to sell it to a stranger for my retirement, then I'm in that situation where those unintended consequences really mess me up badly. So.
And who's gonna buy it?
Nobody's gonna buy it because they can't build on it. Right. And,
If you'd like to address the court and you'd come to the podium.
thank you all very much. Bless y'all.
Judge, one question, and Joe, before you go, that 10 acres that you have, is it an existing subdivision?
Yes.
Okay,
Kerr
so
Country Estates.
there is one more clarification that, because I think we've not stated that if you're an existing subdivision and you want to do a family partition, because there's already a plat on file, you're revising that plat, so there's a revision of plat process, so you are back to the platting process, and now you're back to dedicating right-of-way, because that's what our rules say, and that's why we're here today, because that's what happened.
Good clarification.
So there is, so everything you were worried about is something to worry about. That's what we're trying to fix today.
Oh, I thought they said I didn't have to worry about it.
Once they fix it, you won't have to worry about it. You're not 100% off the hook yet.
But don't worry about it.
Can I get a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I don't need to worry about it?
You have to go with the latest revision, and that is right there.
And it's complicated, as you can see.
So we're trying to uncomplicate.
We're trying to figure it
Right,
out.
well, I just think it's just real simple if you just grandfather all subdivisions that were created and their further subdivision within that subdivision. It's clear, and there's no more problems. That laugh means that it's not true.
Well, it's just complicated, folks.
Okay.
We gotta sit down and.
Thank y'all for working on it.
Let's take about a 10-minute break and we'll come back at 10:20. Back to order. Continuing on our 10 o'clock agenda, we're running a little late. It's item 1.12, consider discussion to take appropriate action on a request for variance for section 6.03C 16, 6.03C 18, 702, and 706 of the Kerr County subdivision regulations for Verde Park Estates, section 2, revision of plat, tract 5, regarding the ownership of road easements. Eric Ash.
Yes, sir, I understand y'all have discussed this already, but since it's wasted 3 months of y'all's time and my time and everybody else's time, I might as well say what's on my heart here. So, being a surveyor, did you know there's directions for surveying in the Bible?
Here we go.
Remove not the ancient landmarks and boundaries which thy forefathers have set. Well, my forefathers were the surveyors that came before me, and they marked property lines in the middle of the road easement, and the private property owners bought the property to the middle of the road easement, and by God, they own it. When you read a Bible verse out of context, sometimes you ought to read the whole paragraph. Sometimes you ought to read the whole book. Sometimes you need to be in the perspective of the person that wrote the Bible verse. And when you understand the perspective of the person that wrote the Bible verse, it has a different meaning than the sentence when interpreted individually. I'm requesting a variance for section. All right, y'all asked me to do this now. I'm sorry, y'all asked me to do it. The new variance rules, okay? Requesting a variance 6.03C.16, 6.03C.18, 7.02, and 7.06 of the Kerr County subdivision rules and regulations, as currently being interpreted by our county engineer. For Verde Park Estates, section 2, revision of plat for tract 5. My clients are Herman and Kevin Crabb and Pam Crabb. Undue hardship will result from requiring strict compliance to the rules as currently interpreted. There are special circumstances affecting the land involved, such that strict application of the provisions of these rules and regulations will deprive the owner of the reasonable ownership of his property intact, as approved by the Commissioners in 1986, Volume 5, page 235 of the plat records of Kerr County, Texas. The variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of substantial property right of ownership, title, fee, and possession, including the monetary value when sold. Granting of a variance will not be detrimental to public health, safety, or welfare, or injurious to any other property in the area. Granting of a variance will not have the effect of preventing the orderly subdivision of other land in the area and is consistent with the general purpose and intent. Intent's a big word. Why were the rules written in the first place? It's for new subdivisions. Of the Kerr County subdivision rules and regulations as historically interpreted and enforced. The 50-foot wide public road easement, which has been dedicated forever to the public by recorded plat, is still in full effect. Any effort to rededicate a portion of the road easement again serves no purpose and is in fact impractical. The private property owner has been paying taxes on a strip of land for decades, paid good money for it, and has a deed to it. If the strip is separated from the parent tract, it cannot be sold separately and has diminished the value of the parent tract. Taxes have been paid for decades for nothing. For this reason, the use of the land between the edge of the road and the easement right-of-way line should remain privately owned or used by the landowner as he sees fit, so long as he does not impede the public use of the easement. The county does not maintain the road. Time-honored traditions after 2007 of respecting existing subdivisions as approved by the Commissioners Court prior to 2007, where additional right-of-way dedications have been exempted by grandfathering them from the requirement when replatted should be maintained in perpetuity. A rule should be in the best interest of the public, be practical, make common sense, and protect private property rights. This can and should be easily clarified when the rules are soon rewritten. My prayer is that the county surveyor will be included and his opinions respected in the rewrite. He's a wise man, and he's been dealing with this his whole life. And I think there's probably not a person in this county that has more knowledge of land law than Lee Volkman, including the local attorneys. A simple sentence such as section 6.03C.C.16 semicolon 6.03.C.18 semicolon 7.02 semicolon and 7.06 do not apply to subdivisions approved by the court prior to 2007. Problem solved. This is often referred to as a grandfather rule. It seems to be a good common sense solution. A revision of plat, especially in the case of family partition, should maintain all private property rights without exception. Let's focus on overzealous developers, guys. Let's leave the little guys alone. I was looking at the Texas Government Code, which is often quoted here, foundation of the subdivision rules, and it says, commissioners may adopt rules which allow the division of property in a platted subdivision by metes and bounds. The family should be exempt from the subdivision process regardless, because of the cost and the time delays, and because we should favor, our law should favor the families and the private property ownership. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
For, not for all the reasons just stated, but I do encourage passage of a motion to accept this variance. And the main reason I think it should is because on the plat, we have a road creating a corner or a side of this lot that's not even there. It's there on a piece of paper, but there's no road there at all, and there's no intent of using it. It doesn't impede anybody else from using it. To me, that's grounds for a variance, at least in this case.
We have a motion and a second to grant a variance as presented. Any discussion?
Agree.
Okay, those in favor, raise your hand. And I'm just going to abstain. I'm trying to enforce rules. So that passes 4-0-1. Moving on to item 1.13. Consider discuss take appropriate action from the court to approve the final plat for the Hideout Ranch and accept bond number L256051-2131 in the amount of $1,828,024 for associated construction improvements in Mountain Home, Texas. Precinct 4. Tracy.
Thank you, Judge. This proposed subdivision consists of property located in Kerr County and Gillespie County. It includes portions of an unofficial subdivision known as Harper Valley. Access to the subdivision will be off of FM 479 in Kerr County at 2 locations where they have 2 entrances. The developer's contractor began construction before subdivision plans had been approved, and a notice of violation was sent out on November 12, 2021. The developer took immediate corrective action and is now in compliance. The developer has also sent information stating that no lots have been sold. That's in your packet. The county engineer requests the court approve a final plat for the Hideout Ranch and accept a performance bond for the associated construction improvements in Mountain Home, Texas, Precinct 4. And That is bond number L256051-2131 in the amount of $1,828,024.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the final plat for the Hideout Ranch. Any discussion? Charlie, what? We know they did these things before the plat was presented to us. I know that they laid out the roads, surveyed the lots.
Yes, sir.
And had a big tent sale or something. What was it they did?
My understanding was that the tent sale was a pre-sale. My understanding is that those, whatever lots were sold, they've not closed on those properties. That's my understanding. I don't know that for a fact, other than that's what I've been told.
More or less contingent on being approved and everything, I think.
Yeah.
What I'm getting.
It's pretty common for developers to pre-sell kind of, I guess right, kind of pre-reserve lots. They don't sell them, they're
That's
reserving.
signed on the dotted line, but you got first shot or whatever.
Well, this is one where they actually laid out the roads.
They did.
Put the base down, and then they take the base back up.
The base has been taken up.
And this is another reason a lot of preliminary plats are good, which I mean, just, we all know this, but the state obviously doesn't.
The state well knows.
But it helps because developers are able under our rules to work on roads and things after between preliminary plat and final plat, and
That's correct.
and that's when a lot of it gets done during that process. But the state had other ideas, or the legislature.
But what they did was they went too far with the construction of those roads without approved construction plans.
Right.
They do now, as of last week, have approved construction plans. That's been finalized. It may have been the week before, I can't remember the exact date. I will also note that in your packet, the preliminary plat copy that you have in there is missing a vicinity map on it. But the Mylar copies that we'll hand to Jackie here in a little bit have a vicinity map on there to show the location of the subdivision. It was on original submittals, it got lost in the shuffle somehow, and it's back on the final. But the one that you have in your packet, that is missing. So if you notice the vicinity map was missing, that we got it corrected.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second to approve the final plat for the Hideout Ranch in Precinct 4. Those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? 4-1.
Who was opposed to?
I was. I am. Moving on to item 1.14. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve the final plat for Cypress Vine. Charlie Hastings.
This proposal creates 5 lots with frontage along Bartle Road in Comfort, Texas. It also dedicates 1.034 acres of right-of-way along Bartle Road. Lots 1, 2, 4, and 5 will be between 5.001 acres and 5.011 acres. Lot 3 will be 7.381 acres. We have the plat. There's not anything technically wrong with the plat that's in front of you. It's ready to be filed. With the exception, the only thing that we're missing is a drainage report. Our subdivision regulations require lots with 5, or subdivisions with 5 or more lots, or lots that are less than 20 acres to have some drainage calculations done. That hasn't been provided yet. I don't know what it's going to show because this particular subdivision is being done along an existing road, so the developer is not building a new road or changing the drainage other than what it was the day that he bought the land. So it'd probably be a real simple letter from their engineer. We just don't have it yet. Because of that, we're asking the court to conditionally approve this plat, subject to us receiving that final engineering report, drainage report.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the final plat approval for Cypress Vine on Bartle Road. How's that come?
Just conditional approval.
Conditional approval, yes. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Item 1.15, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve and authorize the county judge to execute a change order number 1 to the East Kerr Center Point Wastewater Collection Project, Phase 2. Contract in the amount of $57,371.58. Mr. Hastings.
This item will authorize the execution of change order number 1 to the contract for the East Kerr Center Point Wastewater Collection Project Phase 2 to provide for the replacement of 28 cleanout covers in the roadways with locking cleanout covers, and for the installation of about 95 feet of force main by horizontal directional drilling instead of cut and cover construction. The change order and backup information have been attached to the agenda bill. The change order was reviewed and vetted by the engineer, Tetra Tech, and recommended for execution. Several of the cleanout covers in the roadways were installed in Phase 1, and they have been popping up as a result of traffic driving over them. While the cleanout frames and covers are cast iron and they are traffic rated, the covers do not include a locking system, and some of them pop up and off after repeated tire impacts. The hole left by the cleanout when the cast iron lid has popped off is a hazard to other motor vehicles and may cause tire damage. A portion of this change order will allow for the replacement of all of the cleanout frames and covers in Phase 1, with a locking cleanout and cover to prevent the inadvertent opening of the cleanouts in the future. A portion of force main CF is across a natural low area. It appears that the area was once used as a dumping place for trash and debris by the property owners, especially downstream of the crossing. Upon clearing the area for the lift station, it was determined that there is a possibility that conventional cut and cover construction might result in the disturbance of some materials. To avoid disturbing the existing conditions and thus creating a situation that requires remediation, it was determined that the best way to cross the low area would be to install the force main with horizontal directional drilling. In addition, this method would eliminate the need to remove 2 mature trees in the same area. So there's lots of benefits to doing this. It's normal, and we have provisions for it in the contract, but it does take a change order. This will change the contract amount by $57,371.58. The new contract total for Phase 2 will be $10,623,326.57. The contract time currently is 450 days. This will add 105 days. The new contract total days would be 555 days. The county engineer recommends that the court authorize the county judge to execute change order number 1 to the East Kerr Center Point Wastewater Collection Project Phase 2 contract in the amount of $57,371.58.
I move. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the contract on the East Kerr Center Point Wastewater Collection Project as presented. Any other discussion?
I have a question. These manhole covers that are popping up, or what?
Clean out covers, yes, sir.
Cleanout covers. What's the size? What are the dimensions?
6-inch diameter. So when the lid pops up, you've got a 6-inch hole in the road.
And was this is done elsewhere? Why was this kind of thing put in here? I mean,
No,
is this a substandard product?
this fixes the Phase 1 cleanouts that are popping up.
I understand what you want out of this. Why do they have to be replaced? Why don't we get the right thing to begin with?
I don't know the answer to that.
Is this not part of the original bid?
It was specified, the covers that were specified were not supposed to do this, but they are.
It's a substandard product. Shouldn't we have a way to get our money back on that? We're just gonna throw all those away and call it a loss, or can we?
Yeah. Sorry, you made a mistake.
Yeah, that doesn't sound.
See, it's really not, but the ones that were installed and specified were supposed to not do this, but they are. I mean, I don't know.
That falls on the contractor. That doesn't fall on us.
No, it doesn't fall on the contractor. It falls on the specifications.
The manufacturer.
For the
Well,
manufacturer.
somebody besides the county should pay for that, for the replacement of those at least. The other part of it, avoiding the trash and not killing trees, that's another matter, but.
I agree.
replacement of
Faulty
parts,
material.
yeah. We shouldn't take the hit on that.
I don't disagree with you, but I know this process, we need to follow up on that if we can get remedy.
I think they need to be fixed, and we could follow up with the original contractor for phase one and
What is it
sort it
made out
out.
of?
Cast iron.
So we just take a trip to Strap Solutions and we're done, is that it? I think we ought to get our money back on that, and the county shouldn't.
Well, it should be replaced.
Yeah, or they replace it with a better product. They can take that and reuse it someplace else. They can repurpose that if they want to. Come get them, get us some good ones.
I'm concerned about a delay.
I mean, I think we need to do it, and I also agree, I think it's a good point that we should go back, either on the,
Well, we need to hold somebody's feet to the fire
yeah,
on this.
on the accountability as to why they're not working properly. And I don't know, you'd have to look at the specifications if they're specified, in which case you get Tetra Tech should help.
We can have Tetra Tech get with the bonding company for the phase one contractor.
Yeah, it's bonded issue, so.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do? Make that part of the motion? Or what? How are we going to follow up on that and make sure we don't get?
We can make it part of the motion that we pursue it. I mean, whether we're
That or pass, I mean, until we get
we
an
don't need to
answer.
pass it, because we need to do it. We need to get these things fixed, and we need to, the boring needs to be done.
That's a lot of extra time. That's 4 more months, isn't it?
We need some answers though.
So, I'm fine with part of the motion is that we pursue a reimbursement through the bonding company, the Tetra Tech and the bonding company.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, we state that.
I said, you know, to approve the change order and pursue remedies through the bonding company or the previous contractor.
So you're amending your motion to?
He made the motion, I'm amending the second, he's agreeing, yeah.
Okay, so we've got an amended motion on the table to approve the change order and pursue possible remedies. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous by vote. Moving on to item 1.16, consider, discuss, take appropriate action on how to determine if an access road meets public health and safety standards.
I put this, on the agenda, because we talked about this quite a bit at the last meeting. And the issue, the one that's pending, is in my precinct, and immediately after the meeting, I was called and said, so what do I do? And I really couldn't give him a clear answer, because we talked a lot about it, but didn't really say what they need to do. Like on a variance, it's very clear, if somebody wants a variance, what they have to show. But it is unclear to me as to what a individual is to show that their road is not a public safety hazard. So I think
I'm confused on the property.
Yeah.
we talked about is the
Pig trails.
The pig trail.
we're not supposed to use that terminology anymore. It's that road, and there's others. Another one, which it's not going to be platted now, but it may in the future, is to what standard we're going to determine makes a road not public safety.
Can I ask a question about this, and you'll know as much about this as anybody. As I understand it, if it's a country lane, it has to have something, Charlie, if it's a country lane, it has to have like something like 22 feet of base qualified, is that right?
Right.
Okay, so in this particular case, as I recall, is about 20 feet of clearance.
Right.
Yeah. So.
It's an existing right of way.
Okay, it's existing right of way.
So it meets, it's not a subdivision violation. It meets our subdivision rules. It's that, what is the criteria that we're going to use to say that that road does not meet public safety standards?
Why can't people that purchase or live back there be responsible for their own problems? I mean, why do we have to?
Well, I tend to agree with that.
Step in. I mean, I don't like a lot of regulations. I mean, you know, you buy that out in the middle, gotta get an easement from somebody or right away from somebody, you know that's a problem.
Right.
If it's more than a place to go hunt a couple of times a year or something.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't, I'm just not really in favor of going down this road. But to me,
But this is a privately owned, public use road.
It would be after this.
it's an easement. I don't know if it's public or not. It's an easement. I presume it's an easement to someone's property, and the guy wants to divide a ranch into 3 lots.
Then it would be a public road. 'Cause you'd have-
But he could give it the permission of those 3 people, and they only be not open to the public. It could be only open to
Buyer beware.
So it could still be a private road.
Right.
This is what I was talking about earlier, that we treat people like grown-ups, they go file the paperwork with the county clerk, which is what the clerk's office is for, and we don't micromanage everything.
Right.
I said before, when this particular one came up, it's his problem, or her problem, whoever it is, let them sort it out with their neighbors, and I don't think we ought to be playing Mother May out of it.
But he doesn't need to sort it out. We were discussing, I'm gonna say threatening, we were discussing not approving a plat
Because of
this, but he has access.
Now,
So-
does it, once the 911 comes into this, now you got 3, 4 homes back up in there, they gotta give them addresses and so on, and now you gotta have, and this was the whole crux of it, can brush trucks get in there 2 at a time or whatever?
Fire trucks have been on the property already.
And there's
Recently.
plenty of places where you have to wait for one to pass before the other one, there's plenty of low water crossings where you can't get but one vehicle across at a time, so we live with this every single day.
Right. I mean, to me, he's meeting our subdivision rules. The access is up to the individuals that buy the property.
If we don't act on it, we haven't set any kind of precedent.
That's true.
And I think that's where we're sitting.
Yeah. I think that there is a point when we may have to step in, but this one isn't one. And I just don't like trying to set some criteria because we never know what it's gonna be. I mean, to me, this situation, he's taking 800 acres divided into 3 lots. There's a whole lot of properties in this county that have similar situations. And now if he's putting in 100 lots, that's a little different issue, but 3,
Good.
yeah. Which, then I think we have to say, hey, you don't have access to the subdivision, but for, 3, lots, one's 50 acres, I think one's 250 and the other one's 350, something like that, 400. I mean, there's a whole lot of properties like that.
So is this kicking the can down the road for another court? Because someday somebody's gonna want 160, division by 160, 800 acres.
Wait, the guy goes in there and buys this place and wants to do that. He knows how to get there, access is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Now, neighbors don't wanna sell him anything or what have you, that's his problem again. But to do what he wants, he's probably gonna have to get some of the upfront property.
Right.
Then we get calls about why the road is bad, When somebody lives in Houston and they have a country place here and they have
Yes.
to drive over the
I know.
chuck holes, it's quaint then. When they live on it, when they retire here,
Yeah.
they're all ticked off about
No
it.
kidding.
Why isn't my road fixed?
But it's a private road and it's,
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we should do nothing.
I agree.
If it's a private road and private use, then I think the sellers and buyers
Beware.
beware.
Okay. All right.
And if they come to us and want to make it a public road, so we can't understand it.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
But we can't set a minimum of acreage sold back in there, or lots, or
No.
plots, or anything. We can't have anything to do with that at all. It's gotta be hands off altogether.
I understand.
Yeah.
Heather, was that a nice smile or?
So, okay, I'll tell him to present it and
He's gotta get their own right of way or
his,
whatever.
what he's talked about doing is in compliance with our subdivision rules. And present it and move forward.
But I think we ought to put him on notice that any further subdivision of these properties
Again, buyer beware.
will be subject to the subdivision rules.
Right.
I think we just send them over to Headwaters.
That's not very nice.
We're playing nice and big one, okay?
All right, I think that answers the question. Charlie, does that answer questions in your mind?
Clear as mud.
It's clear as mud.
Okay, no action on that.
Item 1.17, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to appoint an alternate for Mary Krebs on the Alamo Area Council of Governments Criminal Justice Advisory Committee. I indicated last time when we approved Jason Davis that I would ask Paul Gonzalez. I've asked him, he's graciously agreed to serve as the alternate. And so we've got a couple of young people lined up to move into those positions when it's time. So I nominate Paul Gonzalez.
Second. Third.
Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. I'm excited about that.
That's good.
1.18, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to designate a member of Commissioners Court as a representative on the Courthouse Security Committee. We were notified by Judge Emerson that they're reconvening the Courthouse Security Committee, and we need to have a representative on that.
I wouldn't mind doing it, working with them.
Okay. No problem with that.
I make a motion to Commissioner Harris.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Commissioner Harris to serve on the Courthouse Security Committee. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous.
I just want to say for the record, I just wish he wasn't here when we done it.
Yeah, it'd been automatic, huh? You wouldn't even have to vote. So everybody nods their head.
1.19, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on a request to post notices in all courthouse bathrooms regarding Human Trafficking Awareness Month. I spoke to Rotary last week, and they are sponsoring these warning signs to put both in male and female bathrooms. I brought some to give to Jody, but we need to ask the court if it's okay to put them up in the bathrooms.
Is it to help somebody if they're...
Yes, if they go, if
get away?
If people go in the bathroom and they have any kind of problem, this is trying to help them. I mean, we've got copies of them sitting out there.
So will this indicate to them this is a safe place? Go to the nearest officer, or what is it?
No. Sheriff, we seeing problems with this?
No, not a whole lot right now.
It gives them a number to call.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that.
It gives them a path a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like most.
They asked me if I'd bring them and put them in the courthouse, and I said, I don't see why not, but I've got to take it up to y'all.
Are they gonna be in there forever, or?
I mean, just the month of January, just trafficking. Trafficking.
Okay. I make a motion that the human trafficking awareness signs be put in county bathrooms through the month of January.
Second. And a motion and a second to approve putting up human trafficking awareness month signs. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Okay. Then we'll move on to the approval document. 2.1, budget amendments.
We have one line item request. All we're doing is transferring $1,500 into liability insurance line from a postage and office supply line.
Need a second? I'll second it. Got a motion and a second to approve the budget amendments as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 2.2, pay the bills.
Yes, invoices for today's consideration amount to $453,762.27.
Move. We paid the
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the bill as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 2.3, late bills.
There are not any.
2.4, auditor reports.
Yes, we had, the auditor's office conducted an audit of the county jail commissary and the inmate trust accounts for the year ending September the 30th, 2021, and issued a report to the sheriff. Based on the testing procedures performed, expenditures and revenues were supported by adequate documentation, and purchases were made in accordance with Local Government Code Section 351.0415. Upon the court's acceptance, the report will be sent to the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. We're asking that you accept the report.
I move to accept the report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to accept the auditor's report as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Monthly reports.
Yes, sir. December 2021, County Clerk Jackie J.D. Dowdy Auditor Tanya Shelton, Environmental Health OSFF Director Ashley Batters, Constables, Precinct 1, Tommy Rodriguez, Precinct 2, Kyle Snyder, Precinct 3, Paul Gonzalez, Precinct 4, Brad Ryder, and Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2, J.R. Home, Precinct 3, Kathy Mitchell, and Precinct 4, Bill Ragsdale. I move for approval.
Second.
And a motion and second to approve the monthly reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Court orders.
Yeah, we have our court orders from our December 28th meeting. There's 39123 through 39139. I did recommend change to 39131. This is the one related to our vote. Well, originally it said approved to vote for the directors for the Texas Association of Counties Health and Employee Benefits Pool for the 3-year term, effective January 1, 2022. I think we should add the language as recommended by the directors of TAC. I mean, that's why we did it. And with that modification, I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the court orders as presented. Any discussions? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Information agenda 3.1. Department heads. Any status reports? 3.2. Elected officials.
Yeah.
Sheriff.
I just want to kind of update you on the sheriff's office and what's going on with COVID. As of this morning, we got about 13 cases back there, 5 different pods, about 2 jailers. And what I want to explain, part of what Jennifer put on there today, 1.8 is kind of, I've asked her to put that on there. And I totally agree with you all on the COVID sick leave policy. The only thing I felt as administrator and supervisor of the jail staff, the jail is full, that's a good thing. But a lot of my people have less than a year on in there. And so they don't have that time built up. Of course, I have several employees with 20 plus years and still have 1,000 plus hours sick leave on the books. But what I just want y'all to understand, with those people, you know, according to the jail standards, you know, we have to be in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they don't have an opportunity like other county employees to have social distancing. But, you know, we only got 2 right now. You know, they have to be in that atmosphere all day long, and, you know, they don't have that option. But, you know, we'll monitor it. The good thing, this is only lasting about 5 days. You know, I have 5 employees total, but 2 in the jail this time with COVID. So just kind of share that with you. That's why she put it on there, because I asked her to.
Sure. Isn't there some legislation that law enforcement?
Yes, and that's a whole nother can of worms. I visited with Jennifer going through workers' comp. I meant, you know, I do have 2 employees currently on there, 1 because of COVID. We can look at that option, but to me, that's kind of, it's going to be extended stay. Right now, you know, we're trying to encourage them to take off about 5 days and come back to work. If I'm correct, Jennifer, is that not right?
Well, you have to prove that you were exposed in the workplace. And it's basically, law enforcement is covered to quarantine. They should be paid to quarantine. And it's just law enforcement, it's not office staff, dispatchers.
That's something I'll get with Jennifer and look into. You know, we're trying to encourage them, you know, to go home and come back as soon as possible. I mean, you know, on the workers' comp, that probably takes a little bit of time to process that. We're trying to get them fixed and back in there. And the only thing I'm concerned about is my people with a year or less. You know, they just don't have that time built up like some of my other employees. But we'll work it out. Like I said, we're down to 2, and I'll let you know if something else comes up. All right, thank y'all.
Then item 3.3, status reports from liaison commissioners.
I just want to give a shout out to the extension out there, county shows last week, and all those guys were all hands on deck and really made a smooth show and really helped the kids and the parents. So good shout out to them.
Well, the shout out that I'll make about the stock show is I listened for about 10 minutes, recognizing the voice, not recognizing the face when Roy Walston made that presentation. Because I knew the voice. But with that beard, I didn't know who it was. Okay, with that, we're going to adjourn and go into executive session. Let's take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll start back in executive session. All right.
Resolution passed.
Okay, of course.
1 second.
It is 11:28, and we finished our executive session. We have nothing left on the agenda. We are adjourned.